within the division. They've taken care of the A's, the Angels, and the Astros during a stretch where they've won 14 of 16. Tonight, they begin a series against West rival Seattle here on TXA 21, the Rangers' home for Friday Night Baseball. Summer's evening here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Rangers, after enjoying an off day, get back to work as they take on the Seattle Mariners in the first of three. And welcome in everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you joined us tonight for this Friday night of Ranger baseball on TXA 21. And tonight, Tom, the Rangers going against the division again. Had good success against the division. The guy on the mound has had good success against Seattle, and that's Derek Holland.
Derek Holland definitely has, Buzz. He struck out 10 batters in the game 3 times this year. Twice it's happened against Seattle. Once it happened 2 starts ago against Oakland. So he's at the top of his game right now. He's thrown the ball great after the All-Star break. He's pitched well against Seattle. Seattle's got Hisashi Iwakuma on the mound tonight. He's very tough. So Derek will have to be at the top of his game tonight against the Mariners. He's facing a really good pitcher tonight.
Now, Derek Holland really has turned into a young veteran on this ball club now. This is his 5th year, and he's performing as you would expect a veteran to perform. Well, the Rangers looking to continue their winning ways. Adrian Beltre and company getting ready to put the saddle on and get it going. It'll be the Rangers and the Mariners coming up right after this on TXA 21. your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best-selling truck for 36 straight years. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT U-Burst TV. And by TXU Energy. The right things right now. 1-866-CALL TXU. The Rangers taking the field. Derek Holland going out to the mound tonight, trying to win his 10th ball game of the year. Ron Washington's club trying to continue their winning ways here as they have won 14 of the last 16 games they have played. And the Seattle lineup they will face tonight looks like this. Brad Miller, the shortstop, leads off. Nick Franklin plays second. Kyle Seager bats third and plays third. The DH and cleanup hitter is Kendricks Morales. Michael Morse in right field bats fifth. Raul Ibanez is in left. Former Ranger Justin Smoke at first base. Batting eighth, playing center field, Dustin Ackley. And Humberto Quintero is the catcher, and he bats ninth.
And our scouting report for Derek Holland, having a very nice season. He's 9-6. His .307 ERA is the 9th best in the American League. 6 or more innings pitched in 11 straight starts. .081 ERA in 9 wins, and you would expect it to be a little bit less than that in 15 starts. He's got the 8th most innings pitched and the 7th most strikeouts. And a nice stat on Derek, he's had 24 starts. In only 1 start has he given up 4 earned runs. Very consistent.
Well, the Ranger defense that will back up Derek Holland tonight looks like this. Murphy, Martin, and Rios left, center, and right. Mitch Moreland at first, Ian Kinsler at second, Elvis Andrus at short, Adrian Beltre at the hot corner, and A.J. Pierzynski is behind the plate tonight. Umpiring crew looks like this, with Doug Eddings calling the balls and strikes. The crew chief, Dana DeMuth at first, Angel Hernandez at second, Paul Nart is down the line at third. Well, the Mariners come in third place in the AL West. They are 14.5 games behind the Rangers. And they are just 24-33 away from Seattle. Rangers, of course, coming in, having overtaken the Oakland A's in the last week to go back to the top spot. And the first pitch of the evening is a strike on the outside corner to Brad Miller. Miller, a .254 hitter, 4 home runs, 22 driven in. Holland's next pitch is flared foul. And very quickly, Derek Holland out in front of the count. No balls and 2 strikes. These two teams matched up the 4th of July holiday week here at Rangers Ballpark. Seattle taking 2 out of 3 in that series. They won the first 2 games, and Rangers had to come back and get the final game on the 4th of July to prevent a sweep. That pitch just missing to Brad Miller. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think Derek thought it was strike 3. Started to walk toward third base. Might have been a little bit outside, but pretty close.
1-2 pitch, got him swinging. Good breaking ball, and Holland gets strikeout number 1.
That's a good sign. When that pitcher's working for Derek and he can get ahead in the count, that's a strikeout pitch to a left-hand hitter. It's also a strikeout pitch to a right-hand hitter, whether he throws it down and away to a lefty or down and into a righty. When it breaks like that and it's in that location, you get a lot of swings and misses at it.
And Tom, we've mentioned almost every time talking about Derek the disparity left-handed hitters, right-handed hitters, with right-handed hitters having a lower average than the left-handed hitters. And wouldn't you agree that one of the problems has been that pitch for Holland, getting that breaking ball away to left-handers to keep them honest?
Yeah, I would. You know, I don't know for sure, but I would guess, if I had to guess why, that's the reason I would give. He hasn't been able to make it in the right location to get them to swing at it, and a good enough location to get them to swing and miss at it. I thought a little bit earlier in the year he was maybe throwing a few more changeups than he's throwing right now. And I think the changeup has probably helped him a lot against right-hand hitters.
Nick Franklin up there, the switch hitter, and he goes after the next pitch. It's a 3-hopper out to Elvis Andrus. Andrus very quickly out number 2 here in the first inning. That'll bring up a guy that's been a thorn in the side of the Rangers and of Derek Holland. That would be Kyle Seager in this ballpark. Seager has made himself at home. And Derek Holland and I will try and turn the tables on him and evict him.
Yeah, this guy's a good hitter. And it doesn't matter whether he's hot or cold. When he faces the Rangers, he looks like a good hitter. He started out a little cold this year and then actually got his average up around 300. It's dropped down a little bit since then, but that's nice solid numbers for him.
Sure
right
is.
there.
Sure is. You saw the numbers against Holland. That's a little more than solid. Takes a strike there. It's 0-1.
He's got a nice short compact stroke. He's not a guy that you can fool easily.
Good look at the averages of opposing players against Ranger pitching. Here's a chopper hit on 2 big hops out to Ian Kinsler, and that'll do it. A nice big inning, nice easy inning, I should say. 9 pitches at all it took for Derek Holland to dispatch the Seattle Mariners. After half inning of play, it's the Mariners nothing, the Rangers coming up on TXA 21. Inning. Now the Rangers coming to bat. And here's what the starting lineup looks like for Ron Washington's club. Leonis Martin leads off. Elvis Andrews is second. Then it's Ian Kinsler. Adrian Beltre plays third. And bats cleanup. A.J. Przinsky is catching. Alex Rios in right. Batting seventh, playing first, Mitch Moreland. The DH tonight, Jurickson Profar. And David Murphy plays left and bats ninth.
On the mound for Seattle is Hisashi Iwakuma. Made the All-Star team this year. He's had a superb season, 10-6. His 3.02 ERA is 8th in the American League. Opponent's batting average, 223, is 4th in the American League. Doesn't walk many, gets his share of strikeouts. His strikeout to walk ratio is almost 5-1. Has the 11th most strikeouts in the league and the 6th most innings pitched. So he's been durable and he's been very effective. He doesn't walk many. Just a really good, solid pitcher with a good repertoire of stuff.
Yeah, pretty good compliment to Felix Hernandez, who we will see tomorrow night. These two guys just, well, they come right at you. And Iwakuma probably not quite the stuff that Hernandez has, but well, they both can pitch.
Yep, got similar numbers.
Well, Leonis Martin ahead of the count now, 2 balls and no strikes. Leonis, you can see, at 277 with the average. And he takes a strike to make it 2-1.
Iwakuma got knocked around a little bit in his last start, but it didn't happen until the 7th inning. Shut out Milwaukee for 6 innings, then gave up 6 runs in the 7th inning.
Right-hander back to the plate. And Martin pops it up into left field. Toward the line of Benny Ibanez. That is out number 1. Well, here's that 1-2 punch we were talking about. Since Iwakuma joined the Seattle rotation last July, better than a year ago now. Combines 37-19 record for the two of them. You got to remember now, this is on a ball club that didn't do a whole heck of a lot. Last year they played better of late, but you're going back over a year. Those two guys have come close to winning 20 games apiece. Felix Hernandez, as I mentioned, will get the start tomorrow night. One good thing that the Rangers have going for them in this ballpark, neither one of them has fared very well here. And the Rangers certainly hope to keep that going. Here's Elvis. And he takes ball one.
Now, when you face the Mariners in a 3-game series, you hope you get really lucky and don't face either one of them. But with a little luck, you would only face one of them. The Rangers will get both. And I'm sure that teams in our division try to stack the rotation, so if there's any way to maneuver it comfortably, they'll have their best pitchers to face the Rangers.
Sure. Yeah. Although I really think the Ranger Ball Club feels that in this ballpark especially, they don't care who's throwing against them. They'll take their chances if they're playing good baseball.
Yeah.
Ball 3 is low, and Elvis now trying to get aboard with one out here in the first inning. Ian Kinsler will be next as he loosens in the on-deck circle.
Yeah, Iwakuma, it's early in the game. He's only thrown 7 pitches, but his fastball's been 86, 87 miles an hour. Usually it's 89, 92-ish, right around in there.
And the 3-0 pitch is outside, ball 4. And there's another oddity. Iwakuma, very few walks. And to see him have a 4-pitch walk in the first inning is, well, unusual.
I would say it's not a real good sign to see him with a 4-pitch walk. Wow. Tough to look at those 4 pitches and see a 4-pitch walk, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Doug Eddings.
Maybe a strikeout. I mean, a strike zone for the hitter so far.
Yeah, it would be.
But the other thing for Iwakuma is he's not throwing very hard. 86, 87 miles an hour is not generally what you see from him. He's not a flamethrower. He generally throws a little harder than that. Let's see if he gets loose and amps it up a little bit.
Kinsler drives one to left field. It's hooking and going foul.
Oh, he amped it up and hung a slider, and Ian jumped all over. Unfortunately, jumped down a little too much.
Yeah, and that's nothing new because Ian Kinsler has 3 career home runs against Iwakuma.
Boy, that's the ultimate hanger right there. 81 miles an hour is like a BP pitch. He got away with one.
And Kinsler, as you can see, those numbers, 6 out of 15 against Iwakuma. 3 of them have left the ballpark. So there's some history there. Elvis, a pretty good lead at first. Iwakuma, a long look now to the plate, and Kinsler high in the air, right center field. Morse into the alley. Has time to get there, makes the catch. And back to first goes Andrus. There will be 2 outs now for Adrian Beltre.
I'd say so far in the game, he's thrown 9 pitches. 5 of them have been right near the middle of the plate without much on them. Got Ian to fly out, got Martin to pop up to left field. I think all of them, all those pitches, they would feel like they'd like to see again and have another chance to swing at them.
And here's another guy in Adrian Beltre who's had good success against Iwakuma. 6 for 17, and 2 of those balls have left the ballpark. Adrian having a great year at 322. 25 home runs, 73 RBI, and the first pitch is a bit outside for ball 1. Now the question, of course, was raised when Nelson Cruz was suspended and was going to miss the rest of the year. How in the world will the Rangers make that up? Well, been a little here and a little there, and a lot of Adrian Beltre and the rest of the guys. Have pretty well chipped in and have averaged right at 6 runs per game since that suspension came down. Of course, the addition of Alex Rios hasn't hurt either. There's a line drive, base hit to right field. Elvis around second, will motor into third. Morris gets the ball back in, and Andrus hangs on. Now he's coming to the plate. The throw is got him. Elvis trying to get that slide in around the block of Quintero, and Quintero blocked off the plate pretty well. A good relay throw from Morse to Franklin. The hesitation, and they got Elvis at the plate. So 9-4-2 on the putout. And Elvis bounced up and was having some heated words with Doug Eddings and Ron Washington out there very quickly to step in between Andrus and Eddings. Well, the Rangers came close. A good shot at that block off by Quintero to get Elvis. Side retired, no runs a hit, 1 left. We're going to the second, no score. Well, Derek Holland back to the hill, and instead of having a 1-0 in which to work, it's a scoreless ball game. Give Seattle a lot of credit. They almost got caught by Elvis Andrus' aggressiveness, but a good throw from second baseman Franklin to home plate, and they did a good job of keeping Elvis from getting in there. Swing and a miss by Kendrys Morales. He is down in the count now, 0-2. Morales really having a great second half. He is a 294 hitter overall. 17 home runs, 65 driven in. He is up among the league leaders, though, since the second half of the season started. It's that pitch inside. A ball and 2 strikes. Go back to the All-Star break. Morales hitting .343. 3 home runs and 11 RBI. 1-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go around? No, he did not. That appeal went down to Dana DeMuth at first base. And, well, Morales has life at 2-2. And Kinsler having a little discussion with Angel Hernandez out there. Just checking in, saying hi. Right center field, up the alley. Back is Rios. He's at the wall when he reaches up to make. Boy, that ball really carried off the bat of Kendrys Morales. It looked like Leonis Martin thought he had it, and then all of a sudden it was by him, and Rios backed him up and had the play.
That's exactly what it looked like. It looked like Martin completely misjudged that ball.
Well, 1 out. Let's go over and say hello to Joel Thomas. Joel?
Hey, thanks, Buzz. Earlier tonight, the Rangers welcomed about 200 teachers in for annual Teacher Appreciation Night. Teachers representing their districts and regional Teachers of the Year from around North Texas. Each teacher received a monetary gift as part of the recognition and as a symbol of the Rangers' support for their efforts. So, a big night for the teachers before going back to school, Buzz.
All right, Joel, thank you. Yeah, Nolan Ryan and Jim Sundberg congratulating all the teachers. Great evening for them out here at Rangers Ballpark. 0-1 the count to Michael Morse. And he gets fisted and hits a little tapper out to Ian Kinsler. Kinsler charges and he throws quickly to get Morse. That's out number 2. Well, let's go back to the Elvis Andrus play where he really made a heads-up base running play, and credit Seattle just for making the right play to get him.
Yeah, and it's a good job by Quintero blocking the plate. You can see Elvis's hand doesn't get to the plate until after Quintero made the attempt to tag him. I think the question is does he tag him or not? Yeah, right there it looked like he may have missed him, but if the umpire felt like he tagged him, it looked like the tag came a little bit before Elvis got his hand to the plate. But tough call. We watched it from 3 different angles. Doug Eddings doesn't have that same luxury.
Raul Ibanez is swinging a miss. He is down in the count 0-2.
So does he tag him? I don't know.
Hard to tell.
I don't know.
Doesn't look like it, but then again, where Eddings is trying to make that call, he is blocked out a little bit by both the players.
I think if you're the umpire, the one thing you did see was Quintero have his foot in front of the base and Elvis's hand go off the side of his foot.
1-2 pitch to Ibanez. Now 2-2.
Good try. Slider away, fastball in. How about Ibanez? 25 home runs, tied for 8th in the league at 41 years old. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's something.
No one in history ever had 20 home runs before the All-Star break over the age of 40 until he did it this year.
And strikeout number 2 for Derek Holland. He gets Ibanez. 6 up, 6 down for the Ranger left-hander. An inning and a half in the books. We are scoreless in our end. Mark McLemore. You can get him at 469-209-2121. And if you read your text in the postgame show tonight, you'll win a $50 sporting goods gift card from Metro PCS. The text again is 469-209-2121. Now, no scores. The Rangers come to bat here in the bottom of the second. And A.J. Pierzynski tops the first pitch from Iwakuma, foul. It is 0-1. Pierzynski, Rios, and Moreland, the first three to do the swinging against Hisashi Iwakuma. 2 for 6 lifetime, A.J. against the Seattle right-hander. It's just inside. 1-1 the count.
We'll see what kind of stuff Iwakuma has from here out, but it didn't appear like he had real good stuff in the first inning. Kind of snuck through that first inning. Could have been opportunity for Rangers to get to him a little bit.
Pierzynski drives on the left, but right at Ibanez. That is out number 2. Or 1, I should say. The second time that they've had a line drive out there. Well, this season, folks who have had more home runs than walks. How about that? Adam Jones. Alfonso Soriano may be the hottest hitter in all of baseball right now. J.P. Arancibia and Willen Rosario, Yuniesky Betancourt, all those guys, more home runs than walks. They believe in swinging the bat.
For an everyday player, a guy like Adam Jones, to have the kind of year he's having with only 16 walks, pretty amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, Soriano drove in 6 3 nights ago. 2 nights ago, he drove in 7. Last night, he went 4 for 5 with an RBI. Tonight, he's got a home run and 4 more RBIs. So 18 runs driven in 4 games with at least 6 home runs.
And he's not through yet tonight.
And he's got more time left. They're bombarding the Red Sox. I guess that's to show support for Alex Rodriguez.
A solidarity deal?
Yeah.
With a teammate?
Team's behind him.
Something like that.
We'll pick you up, big guy.
Rios dumps one into right center field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Well, Alex Rios aboard with a 1-out single. And Morse out there almost overran it. Rios staying at first. He'll be there with 1 out for Mitch Moreland.
It's not a strong defensive outfield for Seattle. I think that they're out there for their offense. Ackley is playing center field for the first time. He was a second baseman last year. But he runs pretty well, and he could develop into a center fielder. Morse in right field is not known for his speed and defense. And Ibanez is 41 years old, so you have to think there might be some holes out there.
Ackley's going to have to go from alley to alley and maybe wear himself out.
Going to have a lot of room to cover. Hopefully the Rangers can take advantage of that.
Yep. First pitch off speed from Iwakuma and stays outside. Mitch at 247, 17 home runs, 46 driven in. Very little luck. 12 at bats against Iwakuma, just 1 hit. But Mitch, as we know, has been swinging the bat much better of late. He has started to right the ship, so to speak. There goes Rios. The pitch is a strike, a double clutch, and that removed any chance that Quintero had to throw on Rios. Stolen base gets Rios in scoring position with 1 away.
It's fun to watch a tall guy like Rios run. Very smooth and graceful. 28 stolen bases on the season. That's becoming a nice strong suit for the Rangers, is their ability to run the bases and steal bases. Martin, Andrus, Kinsler, now Rios. Pretty nice. Gentry when he's playing.
Guy, looking at Alex Rios, you don't really realize how big he is, first of all, because he runs so well. You get up close to him, he's a tall guy. He's 6'5" almost.
Yeah.
Moreland pulls it on the ground out to second. Franklin gobbles that up onto first for the out. Rios to third. He's there with 2 outs now for Jurickson Profar. Gary Pettis over there talking with Alex Rios. Profar hitting .241, and he is handling the DH chores tonight. Jurickson's been bouncing around between the DH spot and second, third, and short of late. I really think the Rangers are going to see the benefit, too, of that this month and next month. You get the three regulars out there, Kinsler, Andrews, and Beltre, a lot fresher than they would have had not a guy like Profar been available to him. First pitch to him is a knee-high strike. It is 0-1. .303 average, as you can see, since the 30th of July for the ball club. That's the fourth highest average in Major League Baseball. The runners in scoring position had been a real sticking point. 1 ball and 1 strike. Profar, the switch hitter, up there from the left side, which statistically has been his better side this year. That's 70 points higher as a left-handed hitter. Saw the numbers against Seattle. They are impressive for the youngster. He swings through a pitch. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Elvis giving him a little support and instruction at the same time from that bench. Rios, the runner at third. 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning. Rangers have the only 2 hits in this game. They've both been singles. Iwakuma working from the stretch. Just missed the inside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A little better velocity for Iwakuma this inning. Fastball's now around 90. But, he's not a guy that depends on velocity. He's a guy that depends on location and movement. Not really that big a deal for him, I wouldn't think.
2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Foul tipped into the glove of Quintero, and the Rangers are gone. They get a hit. Big Strander runner. And hang on a second here. Gonna check and see. No, it is the strike. The strikeout. Profar was saying, hey, that ball hit the dirt. And Doug Eddings, the home plate umpire, went over to check and said there's no dirt on the ball.
Well, that's all he can do. You can't see that as an umpire, so you check the ball to see if it was scuffed.
Well, that'll do it for the Rangers. We'll go to the third, still scoreless.
Compliments of Chicken Express. And now
that is Chuck the Thumper Morgan.
He did all that with a straight face.
He did. He did. Telling you about the Rangers wrestling match. Attaboy, Chuck. Thank you very much. There he is. The director of In-Park Entertainment. Unflappable Chuck Morgan. Justin Smoak leading off the third inning for the Mariners. And Gary Collins drops in that slow hook to Smoak. Justin Smoak, one of the hotter Mariners of late. See his numbers overall. 270 the average, and that's up a long way from where it was. And that's a towering fly ball down the left field line, but it is foul
Wow.
And had plenty of distance, but it was about 30 feet foul when it passed by the pole.
That had some hang time too, boy.
Here's the third strike on that Jurickson Profar thought that it hit the dirt.
I thought it did too. But there's no way the umpire could know. You can't see that from behind the plate.
Right.
So he gave Jurickson a look. He said, well, all I can do is look at the ball, and if the ball was scuffed, he might have given him the call. He didn't see any dirt on it and really couldn't make any other call than the one he made.
1-2 pitch. That's down and in. And it evens the count to Smoke at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Justin, as you saw, the 13 home runs, 33 RBI. In the last 14 ball games, Smoke has really been lighting it up. Switch hitter up there from the right side. The 2-2 offering. Now 3-2.
The Smoke has been swinging the bat a lot better recently. He's actually hit over 300 in his last 100 plus at bats. Actually 130 plus at bats. He got a pretty decent eye at the plate. It's a little tougher to get him to swing at a bad pitch than a lot of hitters.
Payoff pitch is low, ball 4.
Just took every one of them right there.
From 0-2 to 4-2. And that'll be the leadoff walk for Smoke, first base runner for the Mariners to start off his third inning. It brings up Dustin Ackley. Derek Holland, who had retired the first 6 with a couple of strikeouts, now will work from the stretch to Ackley, the left-handed hitting center fielder. 3 for 19 in his career against Derek Holland is Dustin Ackley. He was sent out by the Mariners after got off to a terrible start when he was playing second base. They sent him to AAA to Tacoma. Had him play center field. Figured, well, we'll give him a chance to see what happens there. He was usable in center field, did a pretty good job, and all of a sudden he started hitting a little better too. And so he's come back to take over the center field job, at least for the latter stages of this season.
Yeah, and he may be okay out in center field if they need a center fielder, but he's still going to have to drive the ball a little bit better. He's only, he's not a base stealer. He's not a speed guy.
Got him swinging. And Derek Holland on 3 pitches says we'll see you later. And that is strikeout number 3.
He's only got 1 home run and 18 RBIs, 264 at bats. Well picked, well located, like a hard slider down and away. Mentioned this in the open that Derek has 10 strikeouts in a game 3 times this year. Once 2 starts ago against Oakland. The other 2 times were against Seattle.
Here's Humberto Quintero, the catcher. He was signed off the waiver wire from Philadelphia when Mike Zunino got hurt there. A fine young catcher had to go on the disabled list. So they had Quintero come in, back up Henry Blanco or help him out. Swing and a miss, kind of a defensive hack by Quintero. That is strike 1.
He's trying to get a little smile with it. Good thing is in an at bat, that's only 1 strike, and as long as it's not your 3rd strike, you still have a chance.
Last 4 games, Quintero just 1 for 15. Holland a long look in as Quintero is still trying to get ready. Quintero let go by Philadelphia on the 24th of July, and on the 26th he signed with the Mariners. This pitch is rifled foul. Well, that right into the camera bay.
Watch out, Robert.
Home plate side of the. That almost got that lens.
Robert's checking his equipment, make sure everything's okay. Once he realized he was all right.
Check the expensive stuff down there.
Yeah.
0-2, the count to Quintero. Slowly hit to third. Beltre goes to second, and that's all they'll get. And they're going to call him safe. They say Kinsler was off the bag. Angel Hernandez, the second base umpire, immediately signaling that Kinsler was off the bag when he caught the ball. And Ron Washington going out there to take a look.
It was a slowly hit ball. Adrian took a lot of time to throw the ball, which gave Smoke a lot of time to get right on top of Kinsler, who was trying to get out of the way. A lot of times the umpire will give the guy a little bit of leeway so he doesn't have to stand on top of the bag and risk getting killed. He's saying he caught the ball, but as he did, his feet were coming off the bag. It's a call you don't see very often.
No, you don't. Well, not a popular call here, as you can understand, from the home crowd. Yeah, he might have had a reason to call him safe at second base.
Yeah, but you know that's a tough call. You've got his foot's on the bag. He takes it off when the ball is a couple of feet in front of him.
That ball gets by Przinski, so the runners advance 90 feet. As Miller was around a bunt, it looked like the ball just eluded Przinski.
I'm not sure if he got the bat right in his line of sight. It looked like the bat might have blocked his vision. I don't think he ever touched that ball.
Well, I would assume that's going to be a pass ball. Didn't really hit in the dirt until it got by AJ. But in any event, you got runners at second and third now, and just one out. 1-0 pitch. It's softly out to right field. Don't think it's going to be deep enough with Rios' arm for Smoke to take a chance. It is not. And the throw comes in on a couple of hops to Przinski, and that is a very big out number 2, as Miller can't get it deeply enough to have Smoke tag up.
Now, watch when Ian catches his ball. His foot is on the bag. It comes off right there. But at the same time, the runner's spikes are on the left side of second base. So if he stands right on the bag like a first baseman, he probably gets spiked in both legs. So I think, sometimes you just give the guy a little bit of leeway to get out of the way from that slide. And if he was off the bag, it happened just a split second before the ball got to him.
Yep.
Technically, was he off the bag? Yeah, I guess maybe he was. Just, you don't see that called that often.
First pitch to Nick Franklin is fouled back. Well, that's the thing, Tom. Common sense would say that's a play that you get called all the time the other way, the neighborhood play, if you will.
Right.
Where it's just kind of automatic if the ball's not mishandled and if it's not obvious. And that wasn't an obvious play. And there was a reason for him to be leaving the area.
Yeah. Now, if he did the same thing to turn a double play, fine, call it. But there was no play at first base. It was just one out at second base. You could, if you're watching and listening, you might say, well, hey, the rule says you got to be on the bag. Yeah. He wasn't on the bag. And technically, if you want that interpretation, that's true. And he was right because he wasn't quite on the bag.
Holland trying to work around it. He has an 0-2 count on Nick Franklin. Smoke and Umberto, the runners at third and second. Line drive foul down the left field line as Franklin able to turn on that high pitch. Almost got it in fair territory. You see Franklin not enjoying things at home plate the last 11 ball games.
Yeah, which makes it all the more important on 0-2 to make some good pitches here. You got a great chance to get him, but don't give him something he can hit 0-2.
Holland with runners at second and third, working from the stretch. He okays the side. Again, the 0-2. Got him swinging.
That's better.
Good breaking ball and a big strikeout. 2 punch-outs in the inning, and a walk, a fielder's choice, and an error. 2 are left for the Mariners. No score as we head to the bottom of the third. Rangers in Seattle. also sponsored by SportsCityToyota.com. Now we head to the bottom of inning number 3, scoreless ball game. Rangers will send a David Murphy, Leonis Martin, and Elvis Andrews to do the swinging against Hisashi Iwakuma. David Murphy steps in, hitting at .223. Number 9 man in Ron Washington's order tonight. And the first pitch to him is right down the middle for strike 1. Murphy, a .278 hitter against Iwakuma in his career, 18 at bats worth. Rip and a miss, looked like the splitter. And Iwakuma has a good one. He has great late movement on that pitch that apparently looks just like a fastball coming out of his hand.
Yep. He's got a good combination of pitches.
Throw that split finger pitch, to throw an occasional curveball and a straight changeup to boot. And Murphy hits one down the left field line. That's going to slice back and out of play. Over to take a look, Raul Ibanez. That ball well back into the seats. It remains no balls and 2 strikes.
Got a couple of announcements today. Noka Smith from Sherman was 92 yesterday. Jack and Barbara Pierce celebrating their 56th wedding anniversary. They're from Corsicana.
Call strike 3.
Murphy zone.
Murph talking to Doug Eddings as he goes back to home plate. Didn't think that ball was on the plate, but Eddings convinced it was.
Now, David, you can count on one hand the number of times he's argued with an umpire, but he's got a beef. The ball started out on the corner, but the movement took it outside. That's why we call it the Murphy zone.
No, one away.
For some reason, he has that pitch called all day long, every day.
Leonis Martin up for his second at bat. He bluffs a bunt, takes that big slow breaking ball for strike 1. Leonis flied out to left field in the first. Iwakuma's 0-1 pitch. Now it's 0-2.
Jimmy Fry from Maumelle, Arkansas, 87 years old today. And Terry and Beverly Depp celebrating their wedding anniversary.
Iwakuma back to the plate. Got him swinging.
It's a splitter, one right after the other.
3 straight strikeouts now for Iwakuma. 2 gone. And Elvis Andrews coming up.
Yeah, his stuff is noticeably better in the second and third inning than it was in the first inning. First inning, there were a number of pitches right down the middle of the plate. And who knows what would have happened in that inning. They made a nice play to nip Elvis at the plate for the last out of the inning. But each hitter had good pitches to hit that inning, and who knows? A couple of men on, no telling what AJ would have done in the first inning, but he snuck out of the inning, and now he's throwing the ball like he normally does.
Here's Elvis, who was thrown out at the plate, trying to come around to score to that final out of the first. He takes a strike. He walked. And then Adrian Beltre shot one to right. Elvis going around to third on the play, and as the throw was coming into second, he decided to try to score on that throw into second. And a very good job by Nick Franklin, the second baseman, to recognize what was going on and make an accurate throw to the plate. 1-1 the count. Iwakuma back to Andrews. 1-2. Elvis adjusting those gloves and having a little talk with himself. Back in there now, ready to go to work. Iwakuma into the wind, the 1-2 offering. We'll try it again. Elvis has been on fire here at home. He has hit safely in 16 of his last 17 ball games here at Rangers Ballpark. Iwakuma still staring in. Now the right-hander's ready. Breaking ball, call strike 3. Elvis caught looking at that slider to the outside corner. So 3 straight strikeouts as Iwakuma punches out the side. We're going to the 4th inning. It's still the Rangers and Mariners deadlocked in a scoreless game.
Seattle again. I want to introduce you to some friends of mine. These are members of the Fraternity of the Ruptured Duck. And tell me about what you guys do. It's taking care of your fallen brothers and sisters who are wounded in action, correct?
Yes, what our main focus is we're a combat veterans organization. Our main focus is to kind of do preventative maintenance for PTSD and uphold the camaraderie and the partnership of what we experience in the service while we're out in civilian life.
A support group by people who have been in the same situation?
Support group, self-help, yeah.
And you've got somebody else helping you out. Right over here, we've got Jenny Lewis, Kobe Lewis's wife. And what are you guys doing to raise a little money for this organization?
So tomorrow from 4:30 to 7:30 at home plate, we are auctioning off mystery balls. They are $50. Every member of the team, plus Nolan, Ryan, and Pudge, have signed balls. You can come, buy them for $50, and support a really good cause. And catch a good ball game tomorrow. So a great cause and a good organization. You'll want to be out here tomorrow for that. Buzz?
All right, Joel, thank you. Yeah, that is a great cause. And I know Colby and his wife are really happy to be involved with that and help out that group. Kyle Seager starting things off. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Seager here in the top of the 4th inning, a scoreless ball game, and he wraps another pitch foul from Derek Holland. The count moves to 1-2. Seager grounded out to second back in the 1st inning. 282, the season average for the Mariner third baseman. Seager now 0 for his last 20, however. He is mired in the longest streak of his career. That is tap foul, and the count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Only a couple of base runners for the Mariners in the first 3 innings. They had a leadoff walk to Dustin Smoke in the 3rd, and that was followed an out later by an error on a fielder's choice ground ball. And that's been the only 2 runners that Holland has allowed so far. To center field, and just over to his left a few steps. Ramos Martin captures it, and Seager is out number 1 with Kendrys Morales coming up. So Derek Holland, you see the pitch total, a very modest 44 through the first 10 outs. And to bring up Kendrys Morales, who flied out to fairly deep right field his first time up there. Mariners in the middle of a 9-game road trip. 3 cities, Tampa Bay, the first stop. As the Rays won 2 out of 3 down there, and then 3 games here, and then the Mariners finish off the road trip with 3 out in Oakland next week. 1-0 pitch from Holland. Now 2-0. Morales on the road since the All-Star break, hitting .458. He's gone crazy away from Seattle. 2-0 pitch to him. There's that changeup that got the inside corner. 2-1. Holland to the wind and the pitch. 2-2. Keeping Morales pretty well tied up, even with the off-speed pitches.
Yeah, I think that's the best place to throw him, right in there.
Now the 2-2. Check swing. And the appeal to first. No swing. Well, the count has gone full now to Morales. Morales hitting at number 4 slot. Trying to get aboard with one out here in the 4th inning. Michael Morse, the big right fielder, is waiting in the on-deck circle. A.J. Brzezinski flashing the signs out. And the 50th pitch of the night for Derek Holland. Got him swinging. Off-speed pitch down, and Derek Holland with his 5th strikeout. There are 2 away from Morse. Now let's take a look at tonight's AT&T trivia question. And here's what we will pose to you. Who's the only outfielder in Rangers history to have 10-plus assists and no errors in the same season? 10 assists or more and no errors in the same season. We'll give you half an inning to think about that and come back with the answer next half inning. Morris, a ground ball to second. Derek Holland really jammed him the first time up. Tries to go back in there again, and he can't get Morris to offer. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Morris has had all kinds of physical problems this year. Rip and a miss there. Spent a lot of time on the disabled list. Had a strained right quad most recently. He got activated at the tail end of July. One of the guys that Seattle brought in to see if they couldn't beef up the middle of the order and be a little more productive. 2-1.
Yeah, Morris in 2011 hit 30 home runs, knocked in 95 runs for Washington. That's by far the biggest year he's ever had.
2-1 pitch from Holland. Line drive, Beltre. Playing close to the line and just kind of leaned toward the chalk to make the grab. Side retired in order. We played 3.5. Rangers nothing, Mariners nothing on TXA 21. Now, Ian Kinsler getting set to step in, but first of all, let's answer the AT trivia question tonight. The only Ranger outfielder in history to have 10-plus assists and no errors in the same season, and that answer would be Juan Gonzalez. 10 assists and no errors in 57 games in 2003.
That's a lot of assists in 57 games.
Seems like that might have been 157, but could be wrong. Ian Kinsler, flied out to right his first time up. Kinsler, Beltre, and Pierzynski to do the swinging against Iwakuma. Rangers and Mariners in a scoreless duel here into the fourth inning. And Kinsler takes the pitch low. He's ahead the count as he was his first time. 2 balls and no strikes.
Iwakuma has given up 22 home runs. 30 of the 55 runs he's given up have come by way of the home run. But he's only given up 1 in the last 5 games.
3-0 to Kinsler.
Had a chance to get some up in the first inning. Ian,
Yeah.
it went a long way, but just hooked foul.
Yeah, he's got a chance to give up 1 or 2 here. These guys up. 3-0 to Kinsler. Right down the middle. We mentioned both Kinsler and the guy that's following him in the order, Adrian Beltre, have done some damage. 5 home runs between them against Iwakuma. The 3-1 pitch. And it's 3-2. So Ian taking a couple of pitches and trying to start this inning off by getting aboard. Iwakuma has retired the last 4 that he has faced on strikeouts. 5 in a row overall, but 4 consecutive strikeouts. Outside, ball 4.
He didn't want to take a chance on throwing him 3 straight fastballs. He threw him 3-0, 3-1 fastballs right down the middle. Ian took all the way and then laid off the slider that he tried to strike him out with and gets aboard.
Now the second walk of the game, the first leadoff walk for the Rangers tonight. And Adrian Beltre, who singled to right his first time, steps in. The batting average now for Adrian back up to .324. That's the highest it has been all year long. We'll go back to the last time these two teams met here, July 4th. Since that time, Beltre has hit .378. Line drive, base hit to left field. Kinsler rounding second. He's going to third, and Ibanez will have to throw it into second. Well, Beltre follows up the leadoff walk with another single, and the Rangers have runners at the corners. Nobody gone for A.J. Pierzynski.
Well hit ball by Adrian. See what he hit. He got a fastball right near the middle of the plate. Really turned on it. Adrian's 4th in the league in hitting, came in at .322.
Yeah, he's about .326 or so now.
Yep. Well, the Rangers with a great chance here. The infield will play back for a double play.
And Adrian Beltre tying Miguel Cabrera. 155 hits for the American League lead in that category. A 2 on, nobody out. A.J. Pierzynski lined to Ibanez in left field his first time. Kinsler at third, Beltre at first. Rangers trying to break through in this scoreless ball game. Left center field, that is up the alley. It'll score Kinsler. Beltre going for third, going for second is Pierzynski. He is out as he overslid the bag, came off the bag. And Franklin kept the tag on him, and that's going to bring Juan Washington out again. Well, Pierzynski had gotten there. He had gotten there with a good hard slide, but couldn't maintain contact with the bag. And apparently Franklin keeping that tag on him the entire time, because as soon as A.J. lost contact with the bag, he was rung up by Angel Hernandez. And Angel Hernandez would not be a popular choice for mayor of Arlington right about now.
Well, A.J. hustling all the way, trying to beat the throw to second base. You're right, he did beat it. Might have slid into the bag a little bit too late. overslid the bag, and then the question is, did he keep his foot on the bag? Let's take a look. I don't know about that. The guy's leaning right into his chest. All right, he's on the bag, he's on the bag, he's on the bag, he's on the bag. Well, maybe he's off the bag there. I couldn't tell.
In any event, the Rangers take a 1-0 lead, and now the infield pulled all the way in for Alex Rios, and he takes strike one. Yeah, Beltre, the runner at third, as you see the Mariner infield coming in just about to the cut of the grass. They will start a little bit deeper because the average speed of Adrian Beltre. They know that they'll have time if they can cut a ball off and maybe have a play at Beltre at the plate.
Obviously a much different situation now with one out in the infield end and a man on third.
Rip and a miss by Rios. It's 0-2.
If he's safe at second, the infield has to play back. If you get to look at what the second base umpire has. Well, his foot is off the bag, I guess.
Yeah, before that hand got back down there, I guess he did tag him. 0-2 to Rios. Check swing on the pitch in the dirt. No swing. Dana DeMuth making the call down there at first. Rios had a base hit to right center field his first time up. Alex with 57 RBI for the year. Rangers leading 1-0. They have out-hit the Mariners 4-0 so far. Iwakuma working from the stretch with Beltre at third. Hard hit ball. Diving stop by Seager. He gets up and throws out Rios. A run-saving stab by Kyle Seager. What a play down there by the third baseman.
The Rangers definitely missed some opportunities to score. They got one in. What a nice defensive play. Keeps it from being two. AJ oversliding the bag. Kept it from being two, and who knows what else. Nice play. Hard hit ball right there by Rios. Battling with two strikes on him. Now it's going to take a 2-out hit to get Adrian in.
Well, now the infield all the way back to normal depth, and they shade Mitch Moreland around to the right by 3 or 4 steps. Mitch, a ground ball to second, his first time to the plate. And the breaking ball is in the dirt for ball one. Moreland at 246 as he faces Iwakuma here in the 4th inning. Mitch now in his last 15 ball games has hit .324. He's driven in 6 and scored 8 times in those 15 games. 1-0 pitch to him. Another foul back to the screen, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. So Iwakuma gave up the leadoff walk to Kinsler. That came around to hurt him as A.J. Brzezinski drove Ian home. And Brzezinski caught over sliding the bag at second for the first out. Alex Rios out on a great play by Kyle Seager, while Adrian Beltre down there at third base could only stand and watch. Now time called. Quintero, the catcher, asked for time as he wasn't quite on the same page with Iwakuma. Now the right-hander is ready. A check at third. The 1-1 pitch on the way. 2-1. Moreland has hit safely in 6 of the last 7 games that he has played against these Seattle Mariners. Rangers could use a big one here from him. Knee high outside corner. 2-2 the count.
Pretty good location with that pitch, right down there at the lower part of the strike zone on the knee level.
Humberto Quintera trying to get Iwakuma to shake off a couple of times, and now they're together for the 2-2 offering. Hard hit on one hop, though, to right after second baseman Franklin. That'll do it. The Rangers do get on the board. They get a run on 2 hits and a walk, and Strand 1. We're going to the 5th inning. It's now the Rangers 1, the Mariners nothing on TXA 21. Is sponsored by Standard Insurance. Call 1-800-929-2424 and by the University of Texas at Arlington. Well, the Rangers get a run in their half of the 4th inning. Take a 1-0 lead as Derek Holland back to the mound for the 5th. And he will face Raul Ibanez, Justin Smoke, and Dustin Ackley. Holland has walked 1. He has struck out 5 through the first 4 innings. Ibanez went down swinging his first time up there, and he takes the pitch off the outside corner. 1 ball, no strikes. Holland's next pitch. High in the air, deep to right field. Rios backing up, has a play on it just before he gets on the warning track. Corrals that fly ball. That is out number 1.
I thought that was trouble coming off the bat there, but it did never carry. He must not hit it that well.
Well, birthday wishes for me and you, being you, Darvish. Right-hander turning 27 years of age today. First pitch to Smoke. Got him on the fist with a fastball, and that's fouled back and out of play. Smoke drew the only walk that Holland has issued. That was a leadoff pass in the 3rd inning. Next pitch from Holland inside. Tried to get the fastball on the plate, just missed. Justin Smoke has always enjoyed hitting against his former club, and especially in this ballpark. He has had some big games here. Lays off the breaking ball, and that runs the count to 2-1. Holland about ready to throw his 60th pitch of the night. Left-hander to the line. And pitch inside. It is 3-1 to Smoke. Holland pitching Justin Smoke like he's very well aware of how well Smoke has been swinging the bat lately.
Yeah, Smoke hit that towering home run foul. Since then, Derek barely thrown him a strike.
3-1 pitch. Throws that one knee high on the outer part of the plate. And it's 3-2.
Throw a changeup, 3 balls and 1 strike. Good pitch.
Holland studying the signs as Brzezinski. Let's try one of these.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all you have, Derek. You got to pick one of them.
Try it again.
How about that one? Okay, we'll do that. Payoff pitch. Chopper up the middle into center field, a base hit. The infield shading Smoke around to the left, and that ball not hit all that sharply, but right where nobody was playing, and that's the first hit of the night for the Mariners. A 1-out single here in the 5th inning. So Smoke has been aboard both times, a walk and now the first Mariner hit of the night.
And Smoke continues to swing the bat pretty well as far as his average goes. Sure, they're looking for him to drive the ball a little bit more often, and maybe that'll come. First things first. Definitely swinging the bat better this year than he has as a big leaguer.
Dustin Ackley takes that first pitch in the dirt for ball 1. I was looking back to what Justin Smoke had going on last time we saw them in this ballpark, and he was hitting the low 240s at the time.
Yeah, he's come a long way.
Yep. And the next pitch is low. It is 2 balls and no strikes. Ackley, a strikeout victim his first time. As a matter of fact, he struck out on 3 straight pitches his first time out.
In over 1,200 at bats, Smoke coming into this season was a career .223 hitter. We've definitely come a long way from there too.
Ground ball cut off by Moreland. The second they get one, that's all they're going to get, as Holland couldn't get over to the first in time. Or didn't. I won't say he couldn't, but didn't get over there to cover. So the 3-6 force out erases Smoke. Puts Ackley at first with 2 outs. And Humberto Quintero coming up.
Ackley runs pretty well from the left side, so it would have been tough. But the ball gets to Mitch quickly, who makes a quick, accurate throw. They definitely would have had an opportunity for that double play.
And I think on that replay, you saw Derek had kind of a brain cramp.
Yeah.
Started to go over there and oh, shoot, I should have been over there.
Yeah. It cost him a couple of pitches. Hopefully that's all.
Well, 2 outs now. Quintero on via an error, actually a fielder's choice. But there was no out recorded because of an error. Shoots that first pitch foul down the right side. It's 0-1. Quintero, a .243 hitter as he faces Holland. You got Humberto Quintero, and you also have Henry Blanco, a couple of guys that have been around the block a few times as far as catchers are concerned. The chopper just foul outside third. Beltre flagging it down just in case.
If that was fair, that would have been a highlight reel play if he got it to first base. He would have had a chance with the catcher running. Would have had to throw it from left field somewhere, though.
Yeah.
Nice play.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that past him. 0-2 the count to Quintero. Ackley, the runner at first, with a pretty good lead. He draws a throw from Derek Holland. You know, I was going to say with Quintero and Blanco as your 2 catchers, if there's ever a question that comes up about catching, one of those 2 guys is going to know it. You've seen almost everything there is to see from perspective of behind the plate. Now Holland sets once again. The 0-2 pitch coming to Quintero. Nice block by Brzezinski. And Ackley's forced to stay at first. 1-2 the count. First game of this 3-game weekend series, the Rangers and the Mariners. Tomorrow night, matchup of Martin Perez and Felix Hernandez, the King, and against the young Ranger left-hander. Be a dandy at 7 o'clock. That time called. Then Sunday afternoon, the Rangers and Mariners will wrap it up. Yu Darvish and Erasmo Ramirez will toe the rubber for their respective teams. Holland okays the sign. And a looping drive to left field. On comes Murphy. He's got to play it on a hop. And checking into second base, Ackley. So Quintero just loops a ball into left field for a 2-out single. Going to put 2 aboard for Brad Miller. Now the Ford leaderboard showing you the American League leaders in ERA this year. Felix Hernandez at 228. He'll be on the hill tomorrow night. Hiroki Kuroda at 233. Then you have Sanchez and Darvish and Chris Sale at 273.
3 Japanese pitchers in the top 10. Kuroda, Darvish, and Iwakuma. Iwakuma is 8th in the league.
Here's Brad Miller. And he takes ball 1 low and outside. Miller has struck out and fly to right. He's up there now, though, with runners at first and second and 2 outs here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, let's hope that play at first base where Derek didn't get over to cover for a possible double play doesn't come back to haunt him.
Fastball catches the inside corner. And that evens things up at 1-1. Miller, since coming to the major leagues, I should say, back in the latter stages of June, has really moved in and done a pretty good job in the leadoff spot. This is his 35th start in the leadoff position. He's kind of found himself a home. Takes that for a strike. And Holland has a 1-2 advantage in the count. Holland trying to work around a first and second 2-out situation here in the 5th inning. The 1-2 pitch. Sky to center field. Leonis Martin retreating back to his right, makes the catch, and that will do it. Well, the Mariners come up with a couple of hits, but strand 2 in the 5th. We're halfway through the ball game. It's the Rangers 1, the Mariners nothing on TXA 21. Is sponsored by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best-selling trucks for 36 straight years. Ford is the best in Texas. The Rangers have a 1-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Hisashi Iwakuma will face Jurickson Profar, the Ranger DH, as he starts things off. And that big breaking ball catches the inside corner as Iwakuma drops it in there. Profar down swinging his first time up. It'll be Profar, Murphy, and then back to the top of the Ranger order for Leonis Martin. Fastball. Profar caught looking for something else. He's going to have to take a quick walk around there to refocus. Adjust the batting gloves a little bit and get back in and go back to work. 0-2 pitch. 1-2. Rangers a run on 4 hits tonight. Mariners have been shut out on just 2 hits by Derek Holland through the first 5. Only error of the ball game committed by the Rangers back in the 3rd inning. Humberto Quintero says, let me have that changeup. Got him swinging. It's that splitter, and Profar strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. That is strikeout number 5 for Iwakuma. Well, folks, fans attending tomorrow's game against the Mariners will be treated to a post-game concert by Stoney LaRue, and that's presented by Budweiser. Tickets to the game start at just $13, and for an additional $10, you can purchase a field pass to watch the concert from down on the field. Tickets and field passes for tomorrow's game are still available at TexasRangers.com/concerts. David Murphy takes a called strike 1. Murph took a called strike 3 his first time up there. He had one out in the Murphy zone about 3 or 4 inches off the plate. It was called a strike. Right about there.
It's uncanny. I don't think he has an at bat or something down in the way isn't called strike. No, there's technically a strike.
Yeah.
He's touching the strike zone. It's just you just don't see it called as frequently to other hitters as you do to David.
High and tight. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
That number 4 was strike 3, which appears to be about a baseball length outside.
Iwakuma with the 1-2 pitch. A little bit low. That evens the count to Murph. Murph trying for his first hit of this homestand. He has gone 0 for 5 thus far. Still hit .250 over the last 3 weeks of play, though. That's outside. The count is now full. So Murphy trying to get aboard with 1 out here in the 5th inning. The leadoff man in the Ranger order, Leonis Martin, is waiting to be next.
That's out of the Murphy zone there.
Yeah, not by much. Payoff pitch is on the way. Loop foul down the left side. Murph not taking any chances that time.
That was in the zone. Number 6 was the same place that pitch was for strike 3 the first time up.
Iwakuma again with a 3-2 pitch. Murphy hits it well to right field. Going back is Morris, and stops shy of the warning track to put it away for out number 2. Murph reaching a little bit. Didn't quite get the best part of the wood on that ball, and Morris able to track it down.
Definitely trying to throw David away almost every time up, every pitcher. That's where they pitch him.
A strikeout, a fly ball, 2 away, bases empty. Leonis Martin, who is 0 for 2 tonight, steps in. Martin, a fly ball to left in the first inning. And he takes an off-speed pitch for strike 1. Last time up, Leona's got a pretty good steady diet of split finger pitches and went down swinging. 0-1 this time. 1 ball and 1 strike. See, the last 8 ball games for Leonis Martin hitting .313. And it's been even higher than that at home this year. He's hit .325 here at Rangers Ballpark this year. Talking over things with Elvis Andrus, who's seen Iwakuma a lot. Trying to give Leonis an idea of what Iwakuma might be thinking about. A ball and a strike. The 1-1 pitch. It's fouled straight down. It's 1-2. Even when Iwakuma throws that splitter that stays up, still the off speed has guys out in front of it enough.
He must have a great delivery for it, and the deception in the delivery to sell it to the hitter as a fastball. Very seldom, in this game anyway, has a hitter waited on it and had a good swing at it.
Got him swinging. Second time tonight that Leonis Martin has struck out. That's 6 in the game for Iwakuma. We finished 5 innings in Arlington. The Rangers won, the Mariners nothing on TXA 21.
Famous wheeling Elvi. Elvis is in the building here. What brings you guys out tonight? I hear there's a night anniversary that has you guys all shook up.
Well, it's Elvis night, and we're here because it's the anniversary of Elvis's death.
And what are you guys going to be doing? You have a special talent. These guys aren't just good looking.
Vegas giveaway tonight. Vegas trip giveaway tonight.
Well, and we're doing a little wheelie stunt show around the field.
We're doing that at the end of the game?
End of the game.
And tell me about the rides, because it's the mounts that you guys have that are so impressive.
We do all the parades, Christmas parades, 4th of July's, all that stuff. That's where you'll find us there.
And riding what, though?
Riding Honda Z50 motorcycles. Vintage, 40-year-old motorcycles.
Tiny motorcycles?
Tiny motorcycles.
Big guys.
For big guys.
He said it. Back to you, Buzz.
Okay, Joel.
All right, guys.
Wow.
Thanks a lot.
Traveling Elvi, huh? That's good. Nick Franklin goes after a high fastball, can't connect with it. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes as he's leading off the Mariner 6th inning. Rangers leading 1-0. Franklin has grounded a short and struck out against Holland tonight. Garrick back to the plate and a fly ball to right field. Alex Rios cruising over to his left. 1 gone. Franklin's guy's out. Now Holland will face Kyle Seager. The boomstick mobile with the Elvi in there.
The Elvi and the boomstick.
They could have gotten all the Elvi in that one boomstick.
Boy,
Boomstick is.
if the real Elvis could look down and see that, boy, he would be really, I don't know what. Be stunned. I think he'd be stunned.
You don't think Flattered would cover that?
There's the little motorcycle.
First pitch to Seager is outside for ball one. Seager, a ground ball to second, a fly ball to center. 0 for 2 tonight. He's extended his 0 for streak to 0 for 21. That's just outside, 2-0.
That ball was in the Murphy zone, but Murphy wasn't at the plate.
Yep. Holland back to the plate. And that is outside. It is 3-0 to Seager. Well, Holland has just walked the one hitter tonight. That was Justin Smoke back in the third inning. And Seager with a green light, 3-0, pops it up. Might be playable. Brzezinski back near the screen and can't hang with it. Ball bounces off to his right. It looked like he was concerned about not only the screen, but the on-deck circle and all the batsy stuff over there. Had room to work with as that ball came back.
It would have been a nice out to get on a 3-0 pitch, getting him to pop that up. It was right near the screen. The ball's probably coming down right near the screen. Just misjudged it a little bit. Not a simple play with your back to the plate up against the screen like that.
And ball 4 sails high. Now Seager draws the 1-out walk.
Well, you're right next to the screen looking straight up. It probably blocks the flight of the ball for a partial way coming down.
The 1-on, 1-out, Kendrys Morales, who is 0 for 2 now, will step to the plate. Morales, a fly ball to deep right center field back in the second inning. He struck out his last time in the first pitch. He is in there for strike one. Holland working that good fastball down in the strike zone. So Morales at 293 for the season. The team leader with those 65 RBI. Good breaking ball. He is 0-2 now. Rangers in 13 games have not had a huge problem with Morales. 3 home runs, 11 RBI, and the way Morales has been treating the rest of the league, that's pretty good containment. Holland and Brzezinski, a brief chat on how they want to proceed from here with an 0-2 count. Seager at first, 1 away. Tried to go up and away and runs the count to a ball and 2 strikes. Morales, a 3-game hitting streak coming into play tonight. Coming off a series in Tampa Bay that saw him go 4 for 11 against the Rays pitching. The 1-2 pitch. Just missed down and in. It's 2-2.
He's got him to swing at that pitch a couple of times tonight. In fact, he got him to, I think it was a pitch he struck out on. Missed it once in this at bat, but he'd seen it enough. He was able to lay off at that time.
A.J. Brzezinski checking with the Ranger bench. He's giving me that number 2 in here. In the dirt. And Brzezinski able to block it. The count has gone full now to Morales. Well, we'll see if the Mariners turn Kyle Seager loose on 3-2 with 1 out. If Morales keeps things going and Seager is still aboard, Michael Morris is waiting in the on-deck circle.
Well, Morales is grounded into 17 double plays. That's a pretty high number. That's what you're looking for.
Holland a check of first. He goes that way with his good move, but Seager not overly anxious about getting off the bag. Now the left-hander's ready one more time. Payoff pitch, got him swinging.
Great pitch.
That changeup.
I couldn't tell if it was a changeup or a slider. I have to get another look at it. It was something off speed and down. And he's laid off the same type of a pitch before. Let's see if it's a changeup.
Yeah, that's a breaking ball.
Yeah, it was a good one too.
Yep. Good location. He got Morales to go after, which was the big thing. So that is out number 2, and it brings up Morris, who is 0 for 2. Morris is grounded to second in line to Adrian Beltre at third. And the first pitch up and into him. And Holland is both Morales and Morris's steady diet of fastballs in off the plate, and that seems to have opened things up away a little bit.
Well, the first time up, he really jammed Morris, got in on his fist. He hit a little dribble to second base. Next time up was a little more out over the plate, and he ripped that ball right down the left field line. But Adrian was playing him down the line and was there to spear the hard hit line drive that he hit.
Beltre still a step and a dive off that third base line. 2-0 pitch is in. 2-1.
Well, the changeup, good pitch.
Yep.
Fastball count.
Garrett's been able to do that tonight when he's gotten behind to the big hitters, able to throw something other than a fastball in the strike zone. Next pitch, up and in with the fastball. It's 3-1. Well, if Morris continues the inning, Raul Ibanez, a left-hander hitting left fielder, follows him in the order. Holland okays the sign and comes set. The 3-1 pitch to center field. Leonis Martin going back. That ball's carrying pretty well. Martin back at the wall to make the catch. On a long drive by Michael Morris. Side retired, no runs, no hits. The Walker left stranded. After 5.5 it remains. The Rangers won, the Mariners nothing. On TXA 21. Brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $500 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Hope de la Garza from Dallas. And if the Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Hope de la Garza from Dallas will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, the Rangers maintaining that 1-0 lead over the Mariners as Elvis Andrus leads things off here in the Rangers' 6th inning. It'll be Andrus, Kinsler, and Beltre to face Hisashi Iwakuma. Iwakuma has held the Rangers down pretty effectively tonight. Just the 1 run on 4 hits. Rangers could have had a couple more. They had opportunities anyway against Iwakuma, but he was up to the task. Elvis takes the first pitch. It's outside for ball one. Anderson will walk back in the first, a strikeout in the third inning. 0 for 1 officially. Iwakuma back to the plate. A bunt, and it's a pretty good one. Quintero fields, throws, and just does get it.
Great play by Quintero. Elvis needed to bunt that ball a little bit farther down the line, but as it was, it still took a great play by Quintero to make that play.
Quintero came right out of his shoe throwing that.
He
spinning
did.
Around throwing it.
Oh, nice play. It was a decent bunt, not quite good enough. But it was a good bunt, took a great play by Quintero to get him.
Ian Kinsler going over there to help him out a little bit. Help him get that shoe back on. Well, that was a good play, though, to get him. One shoe on and one shoe off, and get a throw right on the money. So Kinsler comes up. Ian walked and scored the only run of the ball game thus far back in the fourth inning. His leadoff pass set up the Rangers for that RBI situation for A.J. Przinsky. And Iwakuma misses outside for ball one. Other than the walk, Ian's fly to right field tonight. Iwakuma back to the plate. And misses low. It is 2-0. Ian brings in a 3-game hitting streak to play here tonight. On 4 for 12 in those 3 ball games. Gets this one to left field. Ibanez toward the line. The ball's hooking away from him, but he's able to stay with it and make the catch. That ball kind of off the end of the bat, and Ibanez ran out from underneath his cap and made the grab. So 2 away. Adrian Beltre coming up. Well, folks, meet Ron Washington Thursday, August 29th from 6 to 7:30 at the Metro PCS location. That's on Airport Parkway in Irving. Wash will be signing autographs, and you can register for a chance to win a baseball VIP experience with him at a future game. That'd be a lot of fun. Wash will always have a lot of very interesting things to say, and when you sign an autograph, you'll probably hear a few stories, or more than a few. Adrian Beltre 2 for 2 tonight. Looks in strike one. Iwakuma back to the plate. And that's a little bit low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Beltre, a former Mariner, has really roughed up his former team since the end of 2011. Been a .311 hitter against him. Check swing. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Adrian's been one hitter in the Ranger lineup who has been able to lay off that splitter. The last pitch and the location it was in has gotten a lot of swings and misses in this game.
Iwakuma to the wind. And Beltre again able to lay off the off-speed delivery. 3 balls and a strike. Adrian trying to get a board here with 2 outs. He is able to prolong the inning. A.J. Przinsky will have a shot at Iwakuma. Quintero with the signs, and Iwakuma now with a 3-1 pitch. Way outside, ball 4. And Beltre draws the walk. Well, Adrian has been aboard all 3 times tonight. 2 singles, and now a free pass, and A.J. Przinsky coming up.
I guess under those circumstances, nobody on and 2 outs. If there's one guy in the Ranger lineup, you would pitch around and probably walk. To be as careful as you could be, it would be Beltre. Best hitter in the lineup, best power in the lineup.
Yeah, and the most success against
Yeah.
Iwakuma, too.
Don't risk a good pitch for him to hit.
Now, Brzezinski steps in. AJ, a single and a line drive to left. Drove in the only Ranger run, his 48th RBI of the year last time up. And the pitch outside to him. 1 ball and no strikes. Brzezinski hitting at 279. Iwakuma has the sign he wants to check a belt rate. And Brzezinski pops it foul. That will be over the Mariners' third base dugout. Now here's the TXU Energy replay. The only run of the game so far. AJ Brzezinski, a line drive to left center, and Ian Kinsler trots home, and Brzezinski oversides the bag and can't believe it. Angel Hernandez calls him out. TXU Energy, the right things right now. I just got so tickled with that replay, I forgot to give the folks the credit. That pitch fouled back. It's 1-2 now to Brzezinski. That was a case of a veteran catcher realizing that the guy he was about ready to have a heated argument with was going to be behind the plate on Sunday. Said, no, I don't want him to hold a grudge.
Yeah, I think he might have known he overslid the bag. He probably wasn't exactly positive whether he was still on it or not, but you know, Angel Hernandez had his eye right on it. And his foot did go over the bag. He slid a little bit too late.
1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Well, that's the end of the inning anyway, and maybe Roberto will have a little fun with this.
Well, Michael Morris is going to go back and retrieve it. Throw it into the umpire.
Well, the strikeout ends the Rangers' 6th inning. 1 man left. We're going to the 7th. Rangers 1, Mariners nothing on TXA 21. Is John Eagle Honda of Dallas. Good times at the ballpark. Nice Friday night. Rangers with a 1-0 lead as we head to the 7th inning. Raul Ibanez leading things off, and Derek Holland pours in a fastball for strike 1. Ibanez, Smoke, and Ackley, the first 3 to face Derek Holland. Ibanez tonight has struck out and flied to right field. Eric to the wind, back to the plate. Just missed the outside corner. 1-1. Holland has allowed just the 2 base hits. They both came in that 5th inning. Justin Smoke had the first single, then Humberto Quintero had one. And Ibanez not able to check his swing on the breaking ball from Holland. It is 1-2. Sixth player in Major League history. It's happened 7 times, but sixth player to have 25 or more home runs at the age of 41. That's pretty impressive.
That is.
Ted Williams had the most in that category. He had 29. His last year, I believe, was 1960. Holland to the wide, the 2-2 pitch. Just missed it a little bit low, and the count has gone full. Ibanez starting off the Mariners' 7th inning. Justin Smoke, the switch-hitting first baseman, waits in the on-deck circle. Holland with the payoff pitch. One man on and nobody out as Holland walks his third hitter.
First baseman Justin Smoke.
A.J. Krasinski out to have a little chat with him as Mike Maddox calls Andy Hawkins out of the bullpen, and they will get somebody up and throwing momentarily. Holland, as you can see, about ready to throw his 100th pitch of the night, although it is not a problem stuff-wise that we have seen. Sometimes you hit that wall. If you hit that wall, I'm not saying that Derek has, but you hit it sometimes. Command is the first thing that goes, not just not a velocity problem. Smoke swinging on the first pitch. It's a towering pop-up shallow left field. David Murphy coming on. Elvis Andrus getting out of the way and almost fell down right at David's feet. Murph puts it away. That's out number 1, and that's a very big out number 1.
Yeah, it is. Smoke's been swinging the bat pretty well. Remember, he's hitting over 300 in his last 130 at bats. To get him on one pitch, that is a big out after the leadoff walk. And you got to go to work on the bottom of the order right here.
Got that fastball up just enough, huh?
Yeah, had a pretty good pitch to hit. Glad he missed it. Had a little something on it, though. Not that easy to hit a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Jason Frazier, the Ranger right-hander, up and loosening. And it looks like Neil Kotz, the left-hander, is just about ready to join him. First pitch to Dustin Ackley is outside for ball 1. Kotz getting himself prepared to start loosening. Ackley tonight has grounded into a fielder's choice and struck out against Holland. And a fastball hits the outside corner to him. That evens the count at 1-1. Ackley, as you can see, the average now just down below the 230 mark. 229. Double play ground ball. Elvis to Kinsler. Back to first. Not in time. Just enough of a little bobble that the Rangers not able to turn it over. But, boy, that was a great effort.
That was a great effort. And it was not an easy ball for Elvis either. That ball was sliced on the ground by Ackley hard, and it came up on Elvis. But he stays with it and does a great job along with Ian to try to turn it. But Ackley runs pretty well, and he just beat the throw to first. But that was not an easy play for Elvis at all. Tough play, as a matter of fact.
Well, they get the lead runner. Ibanez out on the fielder's choice. And now Ackley at first with 2 outs. Humberto Quintero, the catcher, goes after the first pitch and fouls it away to the right. It is 0-1. Quintero 1 for 2 tonight. Single to left field his last time up.
Quintero, the last time up, had that off-speed pitch. They just reached out and kind of stroked over shortstop into left field.
Hits this one well to center field. Leonis Martin going back. Has a play on it and makes the catch as he bangs into the padding out there in center field.
Much better that time. He got a good jump on that and sprinted after it. He had a little trouble on the one couple of innings ago, but he made a nice play on that one.
And he had his own personal cheering section. Derek Holland there giving him the claps after this catch. So that does it No runs, no hits, and one left. 1-0 Rangers. It's time for the 7th inning stretch. It's also time to join Chuck Morgan as he asks the crowd to honor America with the singing of God Bless America.
We're serving our country at home and around the world. Tonight, we invite everyone in Rangers Ballpark to join in singing God Bless America.
At Rangers Ballpark. August 20th is the last chance to take advantage of $13 upper reserve tickets using the online coupon code CBSDFW at TexasRangers.com. Don't miss your chance to save this summer one more time. Well, Alex Rios set to start things off. Iwakuma back to the hill, and the first pitch is outside. Rios, Moreland, and Profar here in the Rangers' 7th inning. Texas making that one run that they scored in the 4th inning stand up so far. Derek Holland with a little defensive help doing a good job. There's a drive to right center field. Ackley to his left now, coming in a few steps. And Rios is out. He is 1 for 3 as he makes that right-hand turn at first base. It'll be Mitch Moreland's turn to face Hisatsu Iwakuma. Moreland twice has grounded to second. Last time up, he hit a very sharp ground ball, but it was right at Nick Franklin, the second baseman. So 0 for 2 tonight. Rangers just 4 hits tonight off of Iwakuma. He has been extremely good. First pitch to Mitch. And that big breaking ball drops in. That's a pitch that Iwakuma has thrown a lot early in the count. Haven't seen it very much later in the count, but he's been able to get ahead, particularly the left-handers, with that pitch. And Moreland shoots the next pitch foul off to the left. 0-2. Iwakuma, despite having 3 walks and 7 strikeouts in the game, see the pitch count, very modest at 88 with 1 out here in the 7th inning. 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging.
This guy can pitch, boy.
That is strikeout number 8.
That's another splitter. Down. They all do the same thing. They start out around the knees and they dive bomb right out of the strike zone. The hitter's out in front of them and swings on top of them.
So 2 gone. Here's Jurickson Profar, who has struck out both times that he has faced the 32-year-old right-hander. First ball swinging. He chops it foul at home plate. Profar just 1 for 9 now in this homestand. Iwakuma has really given him some problems here tonight. Into the wind goes Iwakuma, the 0-1 pitch. That slow hook, and he tried to bring it into the back door, but it was not available to him. 1 ball and 1 strike. Neil Cott's loosening, and looks like he might be the choice for Ron Washington and Mike Maddox for the 8th inning. Chop foul, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. When you watch Iwakuma tonight, you can understand why he's among the league leaders in ERA and innings pitched. So he just goes deep into games. He doesn't throw an inordinate number of pitches during a ball game. He gets the job done very quickly. The 1-2 pitch to Profar. Now 2-2. Left-hander Oliver Perez loosening in the bullpen for the Mariners. Two balls, 2 strikes. Iwakuma back to the plate. Roller out to short. Boy, nice job staying with it by Miller, and he throws out Profar. Rangers gone in order. 1, 2, 3 in the 7th inning. We're going to inning number 8. It's the Rangers 1 and the Mariners nothing on TXA 21. For Derek Holland, 7 shutout innings for the Ranger left-hander, and another Ranger left-hander, Neil Kotz, has come in to take over in inning number 8.
Exceptional numbers for Neil. He's won 4 games. His ERA stays under 1. 1 home run in 38 innings. More strikeouts than innings. Good opponent's batting average. All those numbers are great. Big part of the Rangers' success this year.
The Kotz will face the top of the order. It'll be Brad Miller, to be followed by Nick Franklin and Kyle Seager. And a swinging foul tip, strike 1 off the bat of Miller. Miller 0 for 3, is flied out twice and struck out. Derek Holland, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts in his 7 innings of work. Just the 2 hits. Kotz on now to try and get through this 8th inning unscathed. And he was ahead of the count, 0-2. You say, well, why in the world would you make a change? Derek Holland shutting out the opposition after 7 innings, and it had very little to do with pitch count. You looked at the last inning for the Mariners, you had a long fly ball off the bat of Quintero that had to be run down on the warning track and running into the wall by Leonis Martinez. Oh, strike 3 as Kotz just overpowers Miller. 1 gone. Here's the Honda flashback moment of the Derek Holland. How about these strikeouts? Pretty good breaking balls for the left-handers. That's pretty much, and to the right-hander.
That's pretty much a strikeout pitch right there.
Pretty much.
Every one of them.
Nick Franklin takes a strike. But going back to Derek Holland for a second, the long fly ball. A 1-run game, it'd be different if you had a 3-run lead to work with. But late in the game like this, a 1-run game, Justin Smoke had flied out to left and hit a towering fly ball, just missed it. So you'd hate for Derek to be a little bit fatigued and not have the command that he had earlier in the game and give up a game-tying home run. Tanner Shepard's right-hander loosening in that bullpen. And that's one of the things that the people that rely on pitch count so much, determining whether a pitcher can go or not, don't see. It doesn't translate from pitch count numbers. But Ron Washington and Mike Maddox down there, they've seen it before. They know what it looks like when a guy is just about to run out of gas. And that's when you want to get him, not afterwards.
Not in a 1-run game, that's for sure.
Yep. High and outside, it's 2-2 now to Nick Franklin.
Franklin has shown surprising power in the big leagues. He's hit 10 home runs, 250 at bats. Kind of a slightly built middle infielder. A little bit of pop in that bat, though.
Inside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And Franklin trying to get aboard here with 1 out in the 8th. He'll be followed by the 3rd baseman, Kyle Seager. Kotz okays the sign. The left-hander is set. Payoff pitch. Inside, ball 4. And the tying run is aboard with 1 out. And Seager coming up.
Very unusual for Neil to be well ahead of a hitter and lose him like that. You don't see that very often.
So Seager now will come up. And Seager 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. Average now down to 281. I mentioned Seager, the most extended hitless streak of his career. He's 0 for 21. But he does have a runner at first and just 1 out. Kotz driving Franklin back with that throw. Left-hander, a couple of checks at first. And the fastball catches the outside corner. That walk kind of fortified what Tom was talking about walks-wise. First walk that Kotz had allowed in his last 5 outings. This doesn't happen that often, especially the left-handed hitter. Excuse me, to guys that hit at the top of the order like that. He normally goes out and buries it. And he's gotten ahead of Seager, so apparently he got right back into form. 0-2 the count. Rangers playing Seager a half step around to the right. And Cox will drive back Franklin. See Elvis just a hint of a shade up to towards second base. And Ian Kinsler a step toward the hole maybe. Adrian Beltre a good 15, 18 feet off that line. Cox sets and the 0-2 pitch. Shallow left field to get a trio of Rangers going after. David Murphy coming on. Still coming on. He slides, and it's a foul ball.
Well, thank goodness that ball was foul. That was up in the air a long time, but David is playing deep late in the ball game with a man on first base so that an extra base hit can't knock him in. And it was too far for Elvis and Adrian to get to it. That ball was kind of out in no man's land out there. See how far they all have to go and where it lands. And luckily, it's just a little bit foul.
Perfectly in between all three of them.
Yeah, it was. David might have had a chance to get it if it was fair, but it would have been a great sliding catch. Would have been very tough to make the play.
Well, we will try it again with 0-2 the count. Franklin getting his lead from first as Cox reads the signs. And now Seager asks for time. He's tired of waiting. Cox to the plate. Well hit to right field. Going back is Rios. Still going back at the wall. It is. Did he catch it? Oh, it's in the bullpen. It's out of here. Kyle Seager, a line drive, 2-run home run, and he has turned the game around as the Mariners have taken a 2-1 lead.
Well, that's basically a stunning turn of events right there for Neil Kotz, who struck out Miller to start the inning, and then out of nowhere walked Nick Franklin, got ahead of Seager, no balls and 2 strikes, and gives up a 2-run homer. Trying to throw the ball down and away, and unfortunately it catches the center of the plate, right down the middle of the plate. That was a mistake that he would certainly like to have back.
You know, Alex Rios not familiar with this ballpark yet. He was not able to get back there and go up against the wall. He was kind of trying to find the wall exactly where it is, and there wasn't. And when he realized where he was, it was too late for him to do anything. So it's 2-1 Seattle now. And Kendrys Morales swings to the next pitch and pops it up. Over to take a look is Mitch Moreland, but that's back 7 or 8 rows. And the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Morales, 2 strikeouts and a fly ball to right. And off the end of the bat and into the Ranger dugout. Masashi Iwakuma now all of a sudden in a position to be a winner in this ball game if the Rangers can't come back and either tie or take the lead. And the 7 shutout innings for Derek Holland for naught. Morales gets fisted by that and fouls it off. Still 1-2. Cott sets. And another foul ball down the right side. Back into the seats. Well, Morales spoiling some good pitches. Kyle Seager, the hero for the moment in that Seattle dugout. His home run is 18th of the year. 2-run blast has put Seattle ahead. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Now caught, set, and again the pitch. Chopper out towards short. Elvis had him played perfectly. That is out number 2. And we'll bring up Michael Morse. Ron Washington now with 2 outs, and right-hander Morse coming up, going to the mound. He wants the right-hander Tanner Shepard to come in here in the 8th inning and try to finish this thing off. So Neil Kotz goes 2/3 of an inning, allows 2 runs on 1 hit, the 2-run home run by Kyle Seager with a walk and a strikeout. He departs, and Tanner Shepard's coming in while the pitching change is underway. We will take a timeout. Back after this on TXA 21. Tanner Shepard's on to try and get the last out here in the 8th inning. Michael Morse, the hitter. And Shepard's first pitch to him is a breaking ball that makes it strike 1. And the numbers for Tanner Shepard. This is his 54th appearance of the year. Another breaking ball. That evens the count. 1-1. Shepard came on Wednesday night here against Milwaukee. Worked an inning and struck out a pair. Got Morse on the fist and a weak roller out to short. That'll do it. So Shepard gets the final out. But in the 8th inning, Kyle Seager with a 2-run blast off of Neil Kotz. He has given Seattle a 2-1 lead as we head to the bottom of inning number 8. bring the energy. And not a whole lot going on. The hits in the middle of the order. RBI single by A.J. Brzezinski drove in Ian Kinsler, who had a walk in that third inning. That's so far all the Rangers have been able to do. A couple of hits for Adrian Beltre, one more single by Alex Rios, and that was the sum total of damage they did against Iwakuma. And now as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, it will be Oliver Perez, the left-hander, to take over on the hill for the Mariners.
Well, regardless of who comes into the game, Ranger hitters will be glad to see Hisashi Iwakuma leave the game. He was exceptionally tough tonight. He has only managed 1 run on a handful of hits.
Michael Saunders has entered the game to take over defensively in right field. So he replaces Michael Morse. Craig Gentry called upon here to pinch hit for David Murphy to lead off the 8th inning. And the first pitch to him is outside and high for ball 1.
The other day when the Rangers needed a rally, they worked on the walk to get started. So we can do that a little bit tonight.
Gentry hitting at .245 for the year. And Perez misses high and away. It is 2-0. Craig with a home run, 13 RBI. Lourdes Medina, hard-throwing right-hander, is loosening in the Mariner bullpen. And ball 3 missing.
Perez has given up 19 hits and 12 runs in his last 15 games. So he has been struggling lately. They're trying to get us something going here, and they'll definitely take a walk with one of their fastest men at that.
Sure will. 3-0 pitch. Outside, ball 4. And Gentry draws the leadoff pinch hit walk. So that'll take the Rangers now back to the top of the order with the tying run at first base and nobody out. Leonis Martin, you would imagine with a left-hander on the mound, would be asked to bunt in this situation, but we'll see.
Yeah, the key for Leonis is make sure he throws a strike. He's throwing 4 straight balls.
Martin tonight has struck out twice and flied to left. 0 for 3. And now time called momentarily. You saw, by the way, on the Seattle bench, Robbie Thompson is the guy who's taken the managerial reins with Eric Wedge off. Wedge, of course, suffering that stroke, and he's a week or 2 away from probably coming back. So Robbie Thompson, the guy who was his bench coach, and has taken over in the interim. Perez ready. Pretty good lead at first, and the bunt shown, and a breaking ball taken for a strike by Leonis Martin. And that's third baseman Seager charging down the line. Also smoke coming down the line hard on that bunt attempt by Leonis Martin. So Gentry establishing his lead. Perez comes set. This bunt is bunted foul. It is 0-2 as Martin can't get the bunt down.
Take 2 and hit the left right here. Looking down just in case he's getting a 2-strike bunt sign.
Rangers this year 37 times they have come back to win ball games. That's the most in the American League. The second most in all of baseball. Atlanta has 38. 18 of the 37 have come when the Rangers trailed by 2 or more. Little looper down the right field line, but that's foul. Well, Leonis got jammed pretty good. Almost dunked it in there. That would have been interesting. Craig Gentry was hot-footed around toward third. So the count remains no balls and 2 strikes as Humberto Quintero went out there to have a chat with the 32-year-old left-hander, Oliver Perez. Perez turned 32 yesterday. Rangers trying to think of a birthday present for him that would be appropriate being in Arlington. Hitting. Breaking ball. That's appropriate. That wouldn't even raise a black and blue mark.
Well, you get down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. You'll take a curveball to get on base. So a walk and a hit batter. Pretty good start to the 8th inning, down by a run.
And now there's going to be a conference on the mound, and the upshot of it probably is going to be Oliver Perez leaving. And Robbie Thompson takes the ball from the left-hander. That's going to do it. So here's that breaking ball that came into Leonys Martin's hip pocket. I'll take that one. That limp was just for show. That really didn't hurt. So, pitching change underway. Runners at first and second. Nobody out. Rangers with the tying and go-ahead run aboard. Back after this on TXA 21. Nobody out. The Rangers have turned to the 25-year-old right-hander, Yoelvis Medina.
Well, Medina's got some pretty good numbers, too. He's got a solid ERA. Opponent's batting average is below 200. More than a strikeout per inning. He's got a few too many walks. He's walked 28 batters in 50 innings. So it's a bunt situation, but even if you're bunting, you still have to make sure he throws a strike right here. Elvis is an excellent bunter. Got good speed on the bases. You've got good hitters coming up next. Good situation for the Rangers if they execute right here.
Elvis up there. 0 for 2 tonight. He does have that walk. That was back in the first inning. You got Gentry at second, Martin at first. Elvis around to bunt and pops it foul. That will go back into the seats, out of play. Good thing that was out of play.
No kidding. That's the last thing you want right here. That can derail a good inning. They'll get the bunt down.
Elvis with 10 sacrifice bunts. You see that leads the American League. Gentry and Martin establishing their leads at second and first. Again, the bunt is shown. The pitch is high and tight, and Elvis just able to get back out of the way. The pitch coming in 94, and that was up. Made it a tough thing to get the bat back. Medina starting the sign. Seager, the third baseman, playing kind of catty corner down there. He's checking the runner, and Gentry at second. Again, Elvis around. The pitch is outside and low. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, Medina's had trouble throwing strikes. He's walked a number of guys this year, so even though it's a bunt situation, you still got to throw you a strike. Don't bunt anything out of the strike zone.
Elvis back in, digging that right foot deep in the batter's box. Gentry being dogged out there by Brad Miller, the shortstop, playing right behind him. Again, the bunt is shown. The bunt is foul. And the count goes to 2-2. Washington. Now, we've seen Elvis bunt with 2 strikes before after he hasn't gotten the bunt down. And whether that was on his own or not really sure, but he is 6 for his last 15 with runners in scoring position. Rangers need 1 to tie here in the 8th inning. The bunt is down this time, and it's a good one. Medina goes to first, and they get Andrews. Well, Elvis, again, the bunt with 2 strikes, made sure he got it down. He wasn't worried about third base line or anything else. Just get it in fair territory.
Yeah, you're right, Buzz. The 1 strike bunt, he tried to make a perfect bunt down the third baseline. That time, he just basically utilized the squeeze play. Just get it down anywhere.
Yeah.
And he got it down right straight to the pitcher. But with Gentry on second, it doesn't have to be a perfect bunt.
No, that's a good point, too. You get that kind of speed on the base pass, and if you realize that earlier in the count, it takes a lot of pressure off you, I would think.
You got a catcher on second base or a slow runner, then maybe you have to get a good bunt down the third baseline. But with Gentry at third, you just got to basically get it down and not bunt a line drive right back to the pitcher, and he's going to get to third.
So Quintero out there to talk to the middle infield, and along with his pitcher Medina. Charlie Furbush, the left-hander, is loosening. Got Ian Kinsler at the plate. Runners at second and third. And it looks like the way the infield is lining up that they're thinking about walking Kinsler. I wouldn't believe they'd do that. Quintero now down behind home plate. So they just got the shortstop, Miller, way over in the third base hole. And a breaking ball is in for strike 1. The infield basically is in just in short of halfway, but boy, there's a huge hole up the middle of the diamond. That's where the shortstop is. Miller's closer to third than he is to second. In the dirt. And a nice block by Quintero.
On this situation the other day, down by a run, Ian lined a base hit to left field to drive in the tying run and the go-ahead run.
60% of the time this year, Ian's been able to score that runner from third at least. Greg Gentry, the tying run at third. Leonis Martin, the go-ahead run at second. Inside, 2 balls and a strike. Bobby Thompson's going to move over a little bit toward the bag at second. Medina's 2-1. And the breaking ball comes in. It's 2-2. Wednesday night, 7th inning. Rangers down by a run. Ian Kinsler says, nope, not anymore. A 2-run single put them on top. 5-4 win over Milwaukee. Chance to do the same thing here. And the pitch is low. It's 3-2.
He's pitching him extra carefully. He doesn't want to face Adrian with 1 out, but he'd rather face Adrian with 1 out than give Kinsler a good pitch to here to knock in 2 runs.
A lot of sliders. See what he comes up with on 3-2. Medina ready. And another slider that's chopped foul. They're not going to give at least the first 7 pitches Kinsler a fastball to hit. We'll see if that continues. 37,596 on hand, and most of them are on their feet here at Rangers Ballpark. Again, the 3-2. Got him swinging. Fastball that tailed inside. The only fastball that Kinsler saw in the at-bat. And Medina threw it in a perfect spot to get the strikeout. There are 2 gone.
Well, that's a huge pitch, a huge strikeout for a guy that doesn't strike out that much. But boy, that pitch had incredible movement on it. Well, it had as much movement as any 2-seam fastball you'll see.
Well, now with first base open, Adrian Beltre will get the intentional walk. Well, Beltre will be walked to load the bases for A.J. Brzezinski. You'll probably see Charlie Furbush come out of the bullpen to face him. Although AJ against left-hander, he's been pretty good this year, especially of late. Ball 3 is wide, and one more, and Adrian will trot down to first base. That'll be the second walk issued to Adrian tonight, one intentional and one unintentional, along with his 2 singles. Fourth wide and loads the bases. 2 outs. Pierzynski coming up. And Robbie Thompson on his way to the mound to ask for the baseball. So the 2-out intentional pass, and A.J. Pierzynski will be to the plate, but he will be facing the left-hander Charlie Furbush. And we will take a timeout as this pitching change unfolds here at Rangers Ballpark. 2-1 Seattle. Back after this. They now have the bases loaded and 2 outs. A.J. Pierzynski will be the hitter against Charlie Furbush.
Now, Furbush, like a number of guys in Seattle's bullpen, had a lot of strikeouts. 66 strikeouts in 48 innings. Great opponent's batting average. Not much margin for error right here, though. Bases loaded. Free swinger up there, and A.J. Pierzynski. See how Furbush tries to go after him.
And A.J. 9 for his last 17 times to the plate against the left-hander. That's a .529 average. And in run-scoring situations, runners in scoring position, he is 6 for his last 12. And with the bases loaded, 3 out of 4 this season. So here we go. Charlie Furbush facing A.J. Pierzynski. Greg Gentry, the runner at third. Leonis Martin at second. Adrian Beltre is at first. 2 outs in the Ranger 8th inning with Seattle leading 2-1. Furbush sets, and now Pierzynski asks for time and backs away from home plate. Now the left-hander sets once again. Well, he had a rip at that breaking ball and came up empty. It is 0-1. Pierzynski tonight, 1 for 3 with an RBI single. Furbush okays the sign. The left-hander is ready. Out away. 0-2. AJ in a similar situation that he had against Iwakumo last time up. Got down 0-2 in the breaking balls and swung at a high fastball. Breaking ball just hung inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Matthew Terrell, I don't think he really cared for the location of that last breaking ball. It stayed inside and a little bit low. Probably not where he'd like to have Ferbers throw it. Gentry carrying the tying run at third base. Leonis Martin, the go-ahead run at second. And Adrian Beltre, insurance at first. 2-1 Seattle. Furbush nods in agreement. The 1-2 pitch. Little looper to third. Seager catches it in fair territory, and that will do it for the Ranger threat. No runs, no hits, a couple of walks and a hit batter. They leave him loaded. We're going to the ninth. 2-1 Seattle on TXA 21. Two to 1. For the Mariners, it'll be Raul Ibanez to start things off against Tanner Shepherds. Shepherds came on to get Michael Morse on a ground ball in the 8th inning. And the first pitch to Ibanez is off the plate inside for ball 1. Ibanez, a walk, a strikeout, and a fly ball to right. And the fastball makes it 2-0. Greg Gentry, who pinch hit to start off the 8th inning for the Rangers, remains in the ballgame, taking over in left field. 2-0 pitch. Now 2-1. .251 the average for Raul Ibanez. Foul back. And the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Danny Farquhar, the latest closer du jour for the Mariners, getting loose in that bullpen in left center field. The 2-2 offering. Call strike 3.
Good pitch. Fired it right on the inside corner and made it come back just enough to get the call near the inside corner. Right in the glove, right on the corner. Good pitch. I just thought that was going to stay inside, but it came back and caught the corner.
So one gone now. Justin Smoke will turn around and hit from the left side against the right-hander Shepard. Smoke 1 for 2 tonight. He has walked, singled, and flied to left field. Curveball is low and inside for ball 1. Smoke, as a left-hander, hitting .305 for the year. That compares to .188 from the right side.
And from the right side, he's had 96 at-bats and knocked in 3 runs.
He's fouled away. That's not real good production.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and you're talking about, Tom, what the Mariners, I would imagine, expect from Justin Smoke. And that's to develop into the power-hitting corner infield that he hoped for. That ball is going to leave the ballpark as Smoke got into one. It is gone. Low fastball on a 2-1 pitch. And that makes it a little more difficult for Ron Washington's club to come back. It's a 3-1 Seattle lead as Justin Smoke hits his 14th home run of the year.
Looked like a fastball on the inside part of the plate. And to his credit, he turned on that and hit it pretty well. That one came back toward the middle of the plate. Started off inside, but didn't get it in like he did to Ibanez. Trying to throw the same pitch. And that one didn't start off inside. It started off on the plate. And when it did come back, it was right in the middle of the plate. Well, both home runs today have been on mistakes right down the middle of the plate. Neil Kotz was trying to throw the pitch away to Seager, and they caught the middle of the plate. That one was trying to throw in, and they caught the middle of the plate. Tanner Scheppers.
Well, that is the 146th home run of the year for the Mariners. Exactly fouls back the next pitch. Seattle coming in third in the American League in home runs. We'll move up just a little bit further. Ackley 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of groundouts and a strikeout. He takes outside. It's now 2-2. Chopper right back to Shepard. A little underhand toss for Moreland. 2 gone. And Quintero, the catcher, coming up. Now looking forward to the Ranger 9th inning. Alex Rios, Mitch Moreland, and Jurickson Profar, the first 3 Rangers that will come to home plate. Home run totals third, you saw, in the American League. Already surpassed 2010 and 2011. Came up some last year, but they're about ready to pass 2012 also. The Q shot foul. We were talking about the guys that they brought in, Ibanez and Michael Morris. They had Jason Bay with them for a while, and Kendrys Morales. The whole idea was to fortify the middle of that order and get some production while the younger guys that were surrounding them, Seegers, Nackers, and people like that, had a chance to develop. And it's worked from that standpoint. The scoring more runs. Certainly the home runs have increased dramatically. But, the basic idea was good. And, Quintero caught looking at the 3rd strike. Well, Scheppers gets a couple of strikeouts and then gives up this solo home run to Justin Smoke. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Rios, Moreland, and Profar. Rangers trailing by 2. Visit your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best-selling trucks for 36 straight years. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT Uverse TV. And by TXU Energy. The right things right now. 1-866-CALL TXU. Well, the Rangers trailing now 3-1 to the Mariners. As we head to the bottom of the ninth inning, and Danny Farquhar, their closer, is on to take over.
Well, his ERA is high. He gave up a lot of runs earlier in the season. He's 5 out of 6 recently since he became the closer. He's got an incredible strikeout rate, about 13.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. And he's worked on some pretty good streaks recently. He had a 10-game streak of 14 2/3 scoreless innings snapped the other day. His first loss and blown save to Tampa Bay on the 14th of the month. So he's definitely a guy that can strike out a lot of guys. He's getting a chance to be the closer.
Well, Eddie Chavez has come into the ballgame to take over in right field, and moving from right over to left is Michael Saunders. Well, here is Alex Rios, and the first pitch to him is a fastball in the outside corner for strike one. Rios 1 for 3 tonight. Had a single in the second inning and stole a base. Hits a hard shot to third on 2-hop Seager. Plays it nicely. That's out number 1. Well, Seager taking care of that hot corner down there. One away for Mitch Moreland. Barefoot Quintero getting Doug Eddings a little grief. He wanted to throw the ball back to the pitcher, and Eddings said, no, I'm going to throw it back to him. So he did. Here's Mitch, who's 0 for 3 tonight. He has struck out and twice grounded out to second. Fastball, strike. Good live fastball. Boy, anymore, you don't see many guys coming out of bullpens that don't throw in the mid-90s.
No, you definitely don't. Not late in the game, that's for sure.
0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hits are even at 4 tonight. But the Mariners have 2 home runs out of their 4 hits. A rip and a miss. It's 1 and 2.
It looks like he had a pretty good cut fastball. Last couple of fastballs looked like they cut in a little bit.
The strikeouts per 9 innings. Farquhar
Pretty good.
Yeah.
As a bullpen, it's more than a strikeout per inning.
Got him swinging with that off-speed pitch, and Farquhar gets the strikeout. Rangers now down to their final out, and Jurickson Profar coming up. The Farquhar, a ground ball and a strikeout. Profar 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of strikeouts and a ground ball to short. Rangers have not had a hit since the 4th inning. That was when they scored their only run, and they had an opportunity there to put some more on the board. Couldn't get it done. Meanwhile, Derek Holland worked 7 shutout innings, and his work apparently is going to go for naught. There's a strike. Profar taking all the way. It's 1 and 1.
Well, you know, coming into this series, that runs are going to be tough when you're facing the two of the best pitchers in the American League back to back, Iwakuma and Felix Hernandez.
Rip and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. There is Felix Hernandez, who we will see tomorrow night. 7 o'clock start. Hernandez will face off against the Rangers, and Martin Perez on the hill, the young left-hander. Farquhar agrees with the sign. The 1-2 pitch. Got him on the fist with that fastball, and Profar is going to have to go back for a new piece of lumber.
Farquhar's fastball, that last fastball, 96 miles an hour. The ones that he cuts look like they're about 92 miles an hour. Then he'll mix in more of a curveball, 10 miles an hour less than that. You got a lot of different ways he can go at you.
Again, the 1-2. It's a big curveball. That's got to look like it's about 20 miles an hour coming up there. It's a good fastball.
Yeah, it works like a changeup.
Yep. Right-hander's ready. The 2-2 pitch. Outside. So Profar trying to get aboard. If he's able to get on base, the Rangers would have the tying run coming to the plate in the person of Craig Gentry. Farquhar with the payoff pitch on the way. Call strike 3. Profar is going to complain a bit, but that'll do it. So Jurickson Profar strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. The Rangers go down in order in the 9th inning, and the Mariners take the first game of this 3-game weekend series. The final here tonight. The Mariners 3 and the Rangers 1. Here's that last pitch. Jurickson had something to complain about, but not much you can do then when it's already rung up. That's the final out of the ball game. No, we will come back to Rangers Ballpark, wrap things up right after this. The Mariners win 3-1 on TXA 21.